What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Met Central podcast. And I just want to start off by apologizing for it being 2 weeks since our last episode. We both of us have been busy. There's not been a lot of off days for the Mets. I took a quick last minute trip to Winnipeg, so unfortunately, I was not able to make it for any recent episodes, and I missed a couple of Met games. So I apologize for no post game recaps either, because the support actually on the channel has been pretty good. The views have been going up. I don't know how the hell they're going up and how the hell people are watching Mets content with the way that the team is performing right now, but I will not complain. We will definitely take it. This is going to be a rather short episode. It's date night for the boys, not together, no homo, not together, but
right.
But after it is. So yeah, we're gonna keep this rather short. Leave a like on the stream/episode if you do enjoy. Subscribe if you guys are new, especially for Met fans, and turn on your notifications so you know when we upload or go live on the channel. But what is there to even say about this team that's positive?
There is
Anything?
like approximately nothing. We're 15 games out of the division. We're 8 games out of the wild card, and the most expensive team in the league.
Yeah. According to one of the sports books, they were also the World Series favorites going into the year.
Yeah. I don't know. Now listen, I don't even think even the most deranged Mets fans thought that, but it's just wild that they were. And I'm going to share just a little. We're going to do a little fun thing here real quick. So the New York Mets payroll right now, just is roughly speaking, according to SNY, is $364 million. Hold on. We're gonna just fun math. So 364, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The Mets have, let's see, we've won 35 games. I don't even know if I want to read this out loud, dude. For every Mets win, costs about $10.4 million. So for every $10.4 million we spend, we've gotten one win. Is that not fucking I'm not listen, like is that the best way to quantify a team's success? No. And it's more of just a fun little number just to play around with. But oh my God. There is probably not another team in the league that's even half of that. And we're about $10.4 million per win. I would love to know how the season finishes. Like, to get the Mets' final payroll for just players by their wins and what the cost per win is by payroll. Because I swear to God, I bet you the Mets will double whoever's just behind them.
Probably, yeah. I mean, this has just been embarrassing, as you guys probably noticed on the graphic. I put nothing for the topics because it's probably just going to be us going off the rails, either talking about Winnipeg as we do, or us just listing bad stats about the Mets, because there's just so many bad stats. I mean, I could hit you guys with another one, and I'm going to ask you this question. How many series wins do the Mets have since April 20th?
Since April 20th?
Yeah.
If they had 3, I'd be surprised.
What's your guess?
I'm gonna try to be an overachiever. I'm gonna say 5.
2. The Guardians and the Phillies are their only 2 series wins since April 20th.
Wow, and when I said 3, I was like, felt like I was being a little bit exaggeratory, like 3, let's.
Sorry, 3. I did forget about the Tampa Bay Rays series. My apologies. So there's been 3. Okay. Not that makes the biggest difference in the world.
I feel so much better now.
I know. Doesn't it feel like you just took a trip to Winnipeg? You just feel so much better than before.
Right. Just everything's so much better. Like I can see clearly now.
Yeah. But
team sucks.
I can't believe it, and I owe Braves fans the biggest apology of them all. I had the Mets winning the division going into the year. I didn't think they were going to go far in the playoffs, if I remember correctly from my predictions, but I remember having the Mets winning the division this year, and I don't know what was wrong with me. I genuinely don't know, because now looking at this roster, It's like, holy crap, why did I ever think that this team could win the division? They are so bad. But hey, you know what? There is one positive thing. If you want to take one positive stat, the Mets finally snapped their 7-game losing streak against the Houston Astros.
That's cool.
Only to lose to another series, which, by the way, the Mets have not won a series against the Houston Astros. It will now be a decade since they didn't win this year. It will now be a decade since they've last won a series against the Houston Astros. 2014 was the last time they did.
I was a freshman in high school. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And if you want to include where they've played multiple series against the Astros in a season, excluding 2014, the last time the Mets won the majority of the games that they played against the Houston Astros in a season, 2010.
I was a 5th grader. I was in 5th grade. Dude, this is just such a sad. I don't even know. I'm like looking at the Mets stats right now. I'm like trying to just like offer up even the slightest bit of just positivity, but dude, there is literally nothing. There is
Nope.
absolutely, completely and utterly all right, cool. So Nimmo and Alonso, the only 2 Mets with over an 800 OPS. 3rd place is Lindor with a 749. Only 5 players even qualify to have their stats registered on MLB.com. That is it. That is just it.
We can't even be excited anymore also about the younger players. I mean, Alvarez has just not even been performing well. Beatty
Nope.
had that terrible error against the Phillies in the last game. He's been performing poorly. Vientos got sent down. And then we also have to mention the fact that the Mets traded Eduardo Escobar, which I am trying to understand why fans don't like the trade. One, the Mets should probably be sellers regardless. You might as well start getting some prospects too.
Yep.
You'd rather give the reps to Brett Beatty regardless. You'd rather give reps to Vientos and Mauricio potentially if they do get called up. I don't see a reason, which they didn't call either of them up when they traded Escobar. They called Danny Mendick up instead for some reason.
I think his name is just so funny. I think that was a thought process. Like, you know what would be really funny on top of everything else? Get a guy named Mendick.
Yeah, that would be funny. He has dick in his name.
Right. Yeah. Like, haha.
Penis. Hilarious. Yeah. Isn't that funny? But in all seriousness, yeah. Either way, I guess if they weren't going to give reps to either of those guys, it's fine that they didn't call him up. But again, I like the Escobar trade. They weren't playing him as much. They probably weren't going to use him that much the rest of the year. You might as well get some prospects for a guy that you weren't going to use much, and he's probably not coming back after this year regardless. So I was a fan of the move for sure. Plus, it gives you more ammo if by the very small chance this team somehow pulls a miracle out of their ass and goes on some sort of run by the deadline, and they potentially want to use those prospects to help them get weapons at the deadline to help them make a wild card push. Am I confident that's going to happen? Oh, absolutely not. But
I don't think anybody is.
Yeah. I don't think even the biggest positive Peter could be saying that. But, I mean, the stats just continue to get worse. The Mets have the worst record when scoring 6+ runs. They are 13-12.
That's just so bad.
Keep in mind, by the way, they're spending $80 million on just 2 of their starting pitchers alone.
Yep.
That is higher than some teams' payrolls.
Yeah.
And
for 2 guys who are both just hopefully underperforming.
Yeah. And there's just there's no hope. Oh, Jose Quintana. I mean, there's no excuse. Like, you can't even say injuries. You can't even say any, like, there's just zero excuses for this team. And it just continues to get worse. And for some reason, reporters are still asking Francisco Lindor when he's getting Jeff McNeil's car while all this is happening. Yeah. For some reason, that's the biggest worry in all of this. But like, Tyler McGill, does he still have the most innings pitched for Mets starting pitchers this year?
No, it's Kodai Senga now at 76.2. McGill at 71.1.
I mean, I just don't understand how This is what Billy Epler did in Anaheim with the bullpen. He just never made a good enough bullpen. He tried to get these names that are so good analytically, or these dark horse weapons, and there has not been. You can't even name one that has been reliable. I mean, Jeff Brigham, maybe only for him to hit 2 batters in the last game against the Phillies and implode. I mean, you just look at the names in the bullpen and you want to either vomit or you want to laugh it off. Grant Hartwig, Dominic Leone, Vinny Natoli, Adam Ottavino, or as Frank the Tank calls him, Adam Out the Lead Go.
Yep.
Brooks Raley, and then you have Drew Smith, who's still suspended.
Yep.
Josh Walker, who just got sent down, I believe, also for a lefty. I forgot who. It was TJ McFarland, who, by the way, did dog shit in spring training.
Yep.
And then you have your only good arm in the bullpen, David Robertson. And I am so sorry if the Mets end up selling to any team David Robertson. I'm so sorry when you acquire him, because his arm is going to be cooked by the time he gets to you for how much the Mets have to use this guy.
Yeah. I mean, he's got 33 innings right now, which is not too far behind Carrasco.
Is it actually not?
Carrasco's at 48.
Oh my fucking God.
And hold on. You want to hear the best part about Carrasco? Guess what Carrasco's ERA is?
6.9?
6.19.
Almost nice.
Second worst on the team. Just barely in front of David Peterson with an 8.08.
Yeah, who they called up for Tyler Miguel, not Joey Lucchesi, who has been at least somewhat reliable for the Syracuse Mets. No, they
tolerable. Like, I don't even want to use the word reliable. Like, tolerable. Like, it's like, okay, we could have done worse.
Yeah, I mean, hey, a 2 whatever ERA isn't awful by any means. So he's been reliable for Syracuse, I'd say. Unless his ERA went up a bit, I don't know. But regardless, they choose David Peterson instead. Why? I don't know. I guess because it's the Mets, and that's why. Because nothing they do makes sense.
No.
And even though I was talking about them cooking David Robertson, Buck elects to use him, or not use him, I should say, when he's on a short pitch count for whatever reason. So he just instead had Robertson in the bullpen, just kicking back, watching. And the entire 8th inning in yesterday's game, as the team was melting down, you had him not use David Robertson against the middle of the order in one of the games. I think it was against the Astros. And then you had Ottavino face the middle of the order and Robertson face the bottom.
Yep.
That might have been before the Astros, actually. I might have been the Cardinals. But regardless, I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to understand the bullpen management. I'm trying to understand the lineup construction. They even changed their lineup today. Like, they can't even confidently send a lineup out there.
They can't, dude. It's like Gerard Gallant is like putting shit together now. It's just fucking, you don't know what you're gonna get and when you're gonna get it, or why you're getting it. You just don't know.
Yeah. As soon as I saw Anthony Tacoma's tweet, I saw the top of it. Where like he puts Mets game 78 of 162 versus Milwaukee. I see that, and I'm like, all right, well, the lineup, Vogelback's hitting 5th for sure. Open the tweet, sure enough, see that he's hitting there, and I was actually happy that Jeff McNeil was hitting 8th, and then they moved him up the lineup just a few minutes later, because I don't know if Billy Epler called and wanted a lineup change. I don't know if Buck and Epler were arguing, and then Billy Epler just said, fine, Buck, whatever, put your lineup out there, whatever. I don't know what happened, but instead the lineup for tonight's game is Nimmo, Marte, Lindor, Alonso, Vogelback, Pham, McNeil, Alvarez, Beatty. So you have the 2 rookies at the bottom of the lineup, because why give them consistent at-bats? Why let them play? Why let them actually become full-time MLB players? And, why actually utilize our future, which we coddled so much at last year's trade deadline, when that was the time to actually go all in.
Exactly. Now, honestly, to tell you the truth, I think it's pretty funny how bad the Mets are playing right now and how bad the downfall is. You can't even send our prospects back down to AAA like Beatty and Alvarez, because as I just pulled up, just for my own entertainment, I want to see how the Syracuse Mets were doing in AAA.
Dog shit.
They're 15 games out.
Yep. Yeah.
15. So it's not even like you could be like, oh, you know what? Send them down to AAA, let them win. No. I'd say, hey, you know what? Skip level, send them to AA. 7.5 games out, which is almost respectable, right? Like, it's not bad.
I mean, hey, it's better than the Mets, right?
Yeah, it could be worse, right? So then we'll go all the way down to high A. Let's see where the high A Mets team is. Oh God, there's so many high A teams. Jesus Christmas. All right, here we go. Brooklyn, 7.5 games out. Okay. Well, maybe our regular single A team is not doing bad, right? In the Florida State League. Let's see. Nope. St. Lucie is 11.5 games out. Okay. Well, what about the Rookie League? Let's see. The bottom. We're half a game ahead in first place. We found a league. We found a league where the Mets are not the worst. They're half a game in first place with a 9-6 record with a -8 run differential.
Yay. Hooray.
We not only suck in the MLB, but we suck at every single level that we participate in. The Mets are doing absolutely nothing good. They're doing nothing right. The coaching is bad. The management is bad. Everything just from the top down is just bad. It's just
That's what I
disappointing.
also wanted to mention is you got to question the coaching. You have Eduardo Escobar. He gets traded to Anaheim, and he has back-to-back 2 for 4 days. Keep a close eye on how Escobar does the rest of the year, and it wouldn't shock me if he started to play better now that he's traded away, because we need to have a legitimate conversation about how garbage the hitting coach is. I forgot the guy, Barnes, that's his name.
Yeah.
And then Chavez, even I didn't really like him last year. I mean, I'm sure the Mets hitting approach was better last year, but even then it's like there was just not enough power, and that was part of the issue.
Right.
And then you have Jeremy Hefner, which he's probably the most overrated pitching coach the Mets have ever had. Because
honestly, we probably would have been better off with Hugh Hefner, but we just out there for Jeremy. It's whatever.
I mean, probably we laugh, but
yeah.
Hey, can't hurt at this point.
Get Huey out there, fucking just top down. It's just so bad.
Get my grandma in the dugout at this point. Like she can't be any worse.
You'd be better than Carrasco. I mean, Jesus Christ, Guillorme pitched better than Carrasco.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know.
I mean,
there's no silver lining. There's nothing going right.
No, this is just what Billy Epler does. And this is why when I made my video back on my main channel, if you guys want to go back and watch it, why I was not thrilled, or I wasn't losing my mind, which in retrospect, I probably should have, because I was willing to give the guy a chance because I'm just that asshole that is. Same thing with Buck Showalter. I said with both of them when they hired both of them that I was not over the moon and that I would have preferred better options or other options. And this is the hand we're dealt with, and it fucking sucks. It so bad. Fucking sucks. I mean, there could be a serious conversation at one point that Brody Van Wagenen might have been better than Billy Epler.
Yep.
And Billy Epler's just here for us to potentially get Shohei Ohtani.
Which is not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. We've addressed this. We've addressed it multiple times on this podcast, but it's going to be such a bad look when it doesn't happen. It is going to be so embarrassing when they don't get Shohei Ohtani, because from top to bottom, this organization is going to look like a clown show. And it's the only reason heads haven't rolled yet is because they want to try to get Ohtani because they think, oh, Epler brought him here in the first place, so surely he could bring him to our sad excuses of a franchise. And then we don't want to fire Buck Showalter because we want him to be like, oh, hey, we got a veteran manager here.
Right.
So come on down. But in reality, the Angels are doing better than the Mets at this point.
Yeah. I'm sorry, there's no convincing him. Even if Shohei Ohtani wanted to be here, he'd probably take a second look and be like, you know what, they kind of suck ass. Do I really want to be there? But you know what? Hey, it would be great. I mean, how awesome would it be? You sign Shohei Ohtani, the next year you sign Juan Soto, and then they both end up sucking because we're the Mets. That's just how things go.
Yeah. And this is why I am It's off the rails as it might sound. I'm heavily in favor of them blowing this thing up
Yep,
and rebuilding because
I agree.
realistically, what is there to like? What is there
There's
with these
nothing.
veterans
There's
to
nothing.
have hope for? Because there's nothing. If Scherzer heats up, I'd seriously consider exploring his market come the trade deadline.
Mm-hmm.
Robertson's going to be an easy piece to move. That's for damn sure. I'm telling you right now, if they continue to be this bad and they don't sell at the deadline, I'm gonna lose my shit. But
I agree.
I you have to consider going the route of a rebuild because even if you do get Shohei Ohtani, is that enough?
No.
Not
No,
even
this
close.
this team is like 4 or 5 pieces away from being able to compete, and that's
I think
just
they're
in the on the
further, man.
that dude. But that's just on the pitching side. Then you worry about your batters too, and then you're still probably three. I'd say overall the whole MLB roster, you field 26 guys. I'd say you're 14 pieces maybe.
Yeah, and I mean, forget just the bats. They can't even play defense
No,
anymore.
right? They can't do shit.
Basic fundamentals of the fucking game they can't do. Like turning a double play is a tall order for them now. I just seriously can't even. I can't even comprehend this, man. I seriously can't. And this is the problem when you rely on a ridiculous amount of veterans. You have to
Hmm.
question what Jeff McNeil is if last year was an
Yep.
outlier because he was not good in 2021. He is not good this year. And I'm pretty sure he struggled, if I'm not mistaken. No, he was actually good in 2020. I thought he struggled in
Mm.
2020, but
That was
I
another
don't,
year he batted over 300. He's like an every other year guy.
to a degree, 2019 he hit over 300. 2019 was definitely his best season.
But you're right though. You do wonder what you have there, and if you do tear it down, I mean,
I mean,
not that
he's already 31.
I know it's tough, dude. I mean, they're just like aside like Beatty and Alvarez are at least getting MLB reps, and you see you have MLB players there. Vientos we haven't seen enough of yet. Mauricio you just hope on, but dude, after those 4 guys, I mean, who is there in the minor leagues right now to be super excited about? Kevin Parada, he's like 4 or 5 years away, and he's a catcher. What is he going to do? Take Alvarez's spot? Like, there's not even really anything to look forward to. There's no prospects. There's just not a whole lot. To tell you the truth, they'd be better off punting this season, getting as many prospects in the organization as humanly possible, even if they're not even ranked on other teams' organizations. Get something instead of losing these veterans for nothing. Someone would give up prospects for Robinson. They trade for Ottavino. All of these guys would get you something in return. You might as well take the shot and just see what you get back because you lose nothing by exploring and you lose nothing by just adding prospects.
Knowing the Mets, they'll Chuck Fletcher this and say that they're apt and said
Oh,
they could get a
God.
better return. Knowing how Epler operates, that wouldn't surprise me.
That would
The
really
problem
piss
is
me off.
it's such a tough spot because they probably want to sign Alonso to a long-term extension at some
Yep.
point. I don't know how you do that if you rebuild. That's the issue. Jeff
Wouldn't
McNeil,
be
you
easy.
just signed to an extension, a very friendly one. So that's why you got to maybe explore seeing what you could get for him if you do rebuild. I mean, it's just everything and anything that could go wrong is just basic fundamentals of the game are impossible for this team now.
Mm-hmm.
Even their best defensive player, Luis Guillorme, can't even make solid
Yep.
defensive plays anymore. Like, it's just bad baseball. It's
Mm-hmm.
terrible baseball all around, and you can't even find one bit of hope. You seriously can't.
No, it's nowhere to be found. It's just, and it's getting worse too. Like that, the team hasn't even shown signs of being able to turn it around. They're just showing signs of progressively getting worse and worse and worse. Lindor has been such a disappointment.
Yeah.
He's been freaking awful this year. I don't even know how he has an All-Star nomination. I can't believe he got an All-Star nomination over Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso he missed. He has like a. Hold on. I'll pull it up right now because I just had it in
He
front of
missed
me.
10 games.
Yeah, so he missed 10 games. So he's got about 50 or 60 less ABs than the players ahead of him in home runs. And he's still, I think, 2 home runs behind, or 1 home run behind the league leading home runs. Yeah, I'll tell you right now. So let's see. So Alonso is at, come on. All right. So Alonso has 24 home runs. He has, all right, 40 less at bats than Olsen and Ohtani. He's 1 home run behind them. His 55 RBIs are tied for 6th in the league. And same thing, he's got about 50 less at bats than everybody else except for Josh Naylor on that list, who actually has 3 less ABs than Alonso and 57 RBIs. And he didn't get an All-Star nom?
Because
Is that not bizarre with the 855 OPS, which I guess is not great. Like, hold on. It's really, really good, but it's not like super, super elite. And there are guys ahead of him. But it's just surprising is all.
I mean, the shortstops must suck this year in the NL for that to have happened, because there's zero excuse for Lindor to be an All-Star finalist, and the fact that this might be his first All-Star appearance with the Mets is just hilarious, and probably only All-Star appearance, because again, like you said, he's just been a big disappointment, and it sucks that they acquired him, and this was supposed to be their superstar guy. But I mean, realistically, when did he ever put up superstar numbers that when they trade him, it's like, oh, this guy is most definitely going to be the face of the franchise, superstar type player. You pencil him in 2nd, 3rd, or 4th in the order every single night. Like, yeah, they pencil him in that spot every night, sure, but it's just so infuriating when you watch other teams have their superstars. You have Bryce Harper. Like, I want a guy like that. I want freaking kills, man, especially because he's on the freaking Phillies. Like Aaron Judge, nope, we couldn't get him because
gotta be friendly to the fucking rival owner.
Yeah, have to be best friends, friendships before anything else. The Rangers know that one all too well.
Too well, dude. I don't even know what the play is, dude. To tell you the truth, and that dude that proposed that Shohei Ohtani trade, like he thought he was doing something, like that would have probably made the team worse.
Yeah, it absolutely would have. I mean,
brutal.
You're telling me that they should be buying right now, and what logical reason is there for the Angels to make a trade and the Mets nonetheless to be acquiring Ohtani when the Angels are making a playoff push and the Mets are nowhere near it? Like,
exactly.
There is no. I mean, the guy was just a moron. He called Blade Tillwell Blake, I think. So,
yeah, something stupid like that.
He had no idea what he was talking about. But I know people are going to try to argue that Lindor has put up MVP type numbers. Oh, look at his 2018 season. To me, what separates the superstars are like the guys that put up 40 home runs, the guys that hit 280. They put up a over 900 OPS, which Lindor has not done once in his career in a season. Like, it's the guys like that, and he just doesn't. He doesn't do that. He just doesn't.
One actually little tidbit for the Angels that could make sense for the Mets. Someone made a good point somewhere. I forget if it was Twitter or if I heard it on the radio or something, where the Mets, if they don't want to trade players off their team in order to acquire prospects, accepting really shitty contracts and having good prospects attached to them. And if the LA Angels are serious about getting their money situation sorted, I could see a world where the Mets take on a guy like Anthony Rendon for a really good prospect or 2 or 3. Rendon, his contract expires in 2026. I believe he's making. What's he making? I'm trying to do the math in my head.
I think he's making like 30 million per year or something.
Yeah, and if it's not 30 million, it's really close. Anthony Rendon this year is a .1 WAR. He's got a 682 OPS, which would actually be pretty highly placed on the Mets. If you can get a guy like Anthony Rendon and they attach, Jesus Christ, not Ohtani, attach, let's say, and I don't know what the garbage man fee is in the MLB because it's a lot different than hockey. But if they attach a top 10 or a top 20 organizational prospect, do you eat that contract? I mean, to tell you the truth, I think a guy like Rendon, who's got, I think it's 3 years left, it would be the 2026 free agency, or 2 years, whatever it might be. I think if they attach 2 or 3 top 20 prospects, or a top 10 and a top 20 prospect in their organization, I don't see how you don't consider it. And at the absolute worst, you buff your prospect pool and have a mediocre bat who's going to miss a lot of time to injury anyways. At the very best, you end up with two prospects that end up being great, and a rejuvenated Anthony Rendon. Like, I don't really see a situations where the Mets really really lose. I mean, yeah, Cohen could lose money on the investment and the prospects bust, and Rendon is just Rendon. He just sucks because he just fell off, and after injuries.
Mm-hmm.
But like, why not take the risk at that point? If you have the money to play garbage man at this point, why not just do so? And there's more than just Rendon. If you're looking at bad contracts in the league, I'm just using him as an example because we were just talking about the Angels.
Rendon's not a free agent until 2027. I don't know if they should go that route.
But like, what would it hurt if Steve Cohen is serious that he is?
What it would hurt is knowing our fucking idiot of a manager. He's gonna play him more than Brett Beatty, and he's gonna pencil him in like 4th or 5th in the lineup every night. But don't get me wrong, I do like a couple of the Angels prospects, especially on the pitching side, which the Mets desperately need. But even at the same time, their pitching prospects are getting a bit older. Like Kai Bush and Sam Bachman are my 2 favorite pitching prospects that they have. But both of those guys are old. If they could somehow, some way, if they were able to pull off, like, I don't know, if they could get, I like Ben Joyce, but even then, I'm pretty sure he's going to be more of a reliever, which you don't want a reliever prospect, really. But
no, you don't.
Outside of that,
it doesn't hurt though. But it doesn't, like, if you're basically getting them and it's only costing you payroll. Like, dude, like, what about a guy like Steven Strasburg? He might not ever pitch again anyway. So it's just, what is it? I don't know what the MLB equivalent. It's not LTIR, but like, when you DL them, I mean, how much of that money do you actually pay anyways?
That like, I'm not entirely sure. I mean, Patrick Corbin was the main example for the Nationals.
Yes, that's right.
I would like to see their prospect rankings because I can't think. The only prospect that I know off the top of my head in that organization is Brady House, who I would freaking kill for the Mets. But even then, oh no, they don't have a spot for him because Francisco Lindor is our shortstop for the next decade. So they could look the outfield route. Elijah Green would be a solid pickup for them. I would love Elijah Green. He's struggling a bit right now. In what league is he in? He's in A-ball right now. He's struggling a bit there, but he's only 19 years old. It really can't hurt. Robert Hassel III is another solid prospect. He was more hyped up when he was drafted. He's kind of fell off a bit.
Yep.
But if they could find a place for Brady House to play and they could acquire him, my God, I would do anything for that.
I'm telling you, I think there's a lot more options. Like, here, I'm just gonna read off some guys that could potentially be looked upon as salary dumps that the Mets could take on. I'm gonna read off their salary first, then I'll give you their expiry year. Strasburg, 2027, $35 million. Rendon, $35 million, 2027. Miguel Cabrera, $31 million, 2026. Chris Sale, although Chris Sale, I think, is doing. Hold on.
He's doing. I think he's finally healthy for now.
Yeah, he's got a .9 WAR.
What's
right now
Josh Donaldson's contract looking like?
Let's see. I got to scroll down a little bit further to get to him.
Because I could tell you right now, if Josh Donaldson has a few years on that contract, then the Mets could somehow get Spencer Jones attached with Josh Donaldson in a deal. I'm doing that in a heartbeat. Spencer Jones is one of my favorite prospects in the league.
$23 million for Donaldson, and he's a free agent in 2025. So not impossible at all.
I don't think they'll give up Spencer Jones. That's the only issue because he's their 3rd-ranked prospect, and they probably view him so highly. But if they could somehow get Spencer Jones, I'd love that. Like, there's got to be a way that the Mets could take on like Donaldson and then get Jones attached and maybe give up like an MLB caliber player in the same deal. Like whether that's the deal that you use Jeff McNeil in, or you maybe they need pitching help and they want Max Scherzer and he heats up, like I'm not sure what they would necessarily want there as a major leaguer because the Mets don't really have a lot of options there. But yeah, I'd go crazy if the Mets got Spencer Jones.
Let me throw an interesting one at you, and I want to hear your thoughts on it. And this is just a guy who's it's hard to say he's overpaid because when he earned the contract, he was arguably the best or second best player in the league. His team is half a game out, so it's unlikely that they look to make a move. But if they do worry about money stuff in the offseason, could you see a guy like Christian Yelich? You can probably get him for pennies on the dollar.
I don't know if the Brewers are really gonna move him, and
27, $27 million he's making through 2029.
I don't. They still
31.
they still probably think there's something in him, and that's a deal where you're not gonna get, like, at least with the other contracts, they're so horrendous that
Right.
you're going to get a good prospect. With this, you'd probably get
You're
someone
giving up to
outside
get
of
him.
their.
You're giving up to get him, and I'm okay with that. I was just suggesting him as a means to get better.
Yeah, you'd probably get prospects outside the top 20 in the Brewers organization if so, because I don't see a world where because they probably still think Yelich is a serviceable MLB player. Donaldson's basically unusable. Corbin's basically unusable. I mean, like, that's the difference there, where you want to be able to get one of the top prospects, and that's where I think the incentive would be to take on money.
Right. I agree. Yeah, Josh Donaldson, just for reference, he's had 64 at bats. He's batting 125 with a 603 OPS.
Yeah.
He'd fit right in with shitty numbers like that. God,
Would
he
be
really
funny
was
if the
sucking.
Mets did take Miguel Cabrera and they got Wilmer Flores in that deal.
Imagine. How's Miguel Cabrera doing? Is he batting under 200 still? 228 with a negative .5 WAR. Miguel Cabrera is a 626 OPS. He's batting 228 and 130. Yeah, Jesus Christ, he's really fucking. He's got to retire.
Yeah,
He's
he
washed.
does. Yeah, I agree, but we got to wrap it up here, unfortunately. But I mean, is it unfortunate because talking about this team is fucking hell, but
Yeah, it's destroying me mentally.
watching them is destroying me mentally, and the Mets are emailing me about going back to Citi Field. You're out of your mind if you think I'm giving you money right now.
Like, seriously, what have you done to earn that?
Fuck that. But that's going to be where we wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you guys are new. We'll see you guys in the next one.